So Wexford's wish list for 2020 obviously won the Leinster last year. Importantly, of course, crucially, got Davy back again for another 2 years. What will they be hoping for out of 2020? Do you think?
I think like if they don't match at least what they did in 2019, which is winning Leinster and pushing really hard to get to an All-Ireland final, it'll feel like a step back. Even if, like, in some ways, isn't it almost like they exceeded expectations for us neutrals?
No, they did, yeah.
The idea that they'd win Leinster and then push Tipperary, and probably should have beaten Tipperary, who went down to 14 men all the way in the All-Ireland semi-final. If they don't get to an All-Ireland semi-final, or like if they got to an All-Ireland final and didn't win Leinster, I think that would still be progress. As long as they did fairly, and you have to do fairly well to get out of these groups because only 3 out of 5 get out. But I think either winning Leinster again or getting to an All-Ireland final. What do you think?
Is that realistic?
Why not? Because their form, their graph in the past couple of years, I know there was like 2017 good, 2018 not so good, 2019 very good, and it feels like, right, this team has now got success in the bank. So you can build on that because the belief is there from that. Most of their good players are early 20s and a couple of guys that are in their prime 27, 28. So the age profile is very good. They've got the manager that they wanted all along, albeit you hear the thing about Davy Fitz, which is similar to Jose Mourinho, that because he's kind of demanding so much that after a while players don't respond to it as much. That may or may not be unfair. Like we haven't been in the setup, but it feels like, yeah, why couldn't they build on even a little bit more? Like, they have so much quality.
Yeah, I think he's changed a good bit. He talked last year, maybe it was in the off season, about did they go playing volleyball somewhere or something one day, or did they like in the middle of summer or something like that? They did something completely different. I think he's kind of adapted to. I think he kind of realises that everything can't be full on the whole time. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's kind of adapted his approach, and to realise that probably he needs to be a bit more. His approach maybe needs to be a bit more sustainable as well. He definitely adapted things, and even like the music and stuff. And it's all Davy was always about camaraderie and stuff like that. But I think it has changed a bit more. I think he realises, I don't know, maybe it's just what they have down in Wexford. They seem to have, I don't, like, he's not bullshitting, like they are unbelievably close, like, and it just seems to be different. It's different than even his bond in Clare or anything like that.
Did you see the show during the year when Michael met Davy, the young lad,
top class, yeah, it was brilliant,
Michael O'Brien from Kerry, he
very
came
much,
up and like, it just seemed like there's a bit of warmth in there, a bit of crack, a bit of, you know, the feeling of a brotherhood, or whatever way you want to look at it or term it. And I think that's a good thing, and that adds into even more so. They've got so many pieces in place. Like, they've great players. Like, hopefully Matt O'Hanlon comes back, because it looked like he did his knee badly against Tipperary in the All-Ireland semi-final and played on. Lee Chin picked up a bit of an injury there, possibly in the Super 11s thing in Boston, or he picked up a bit of an injury. I think he's due to go back training mid-January. We'll see how he is. But if they're all back fit,
Dermot keeps returning as well from his kind of he took a little trip away, and he's returning I think much earlier than they thought. He's come back for the league.
So if you have all, and like, he's obviously an excellent player. Liam McGovern is another guy who should have been in the All-Star shake-up. Like, they've got an awful lot of really good players at the right age. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be setting their sights for an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, the one thing, it's funny, Wexford are one of those teams where you haven't even considered the thoughts of anyone retiring, because they're not even close to that. No. They're at a perfect age. They're probably at a perfect age to commit to this as well, because it does seem relatively demanding, relatively speaking. Obviously, inter-county is demanding. Davy demands quite a lot of you as well. So they're at the perfect age to commit to that. I kind of have a feeling that 2020 could be just a tad frustrating for them. I just, like...
Are you worried about a flop?
Not a flop, no. I'm worried that they could, say, get beaten in a Leinster final and get beaten in an All-Ireland quarter final, and that could very, very easily happen. The Kilkenny team that showed up against Limerick could meet them in a Leinster final, say, or Galway bounce back big time. Maybe they won't get to a Leinster final. They got to a Leinster final last year, remember, drawing 2 of the games as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's very easily they lose to Kilkenny by a point, they're not in the Leinster final. They lose to Galway by a point, they're not in the Leinster final.
Flip side, they could have won those games. Dublin got a late 21-yard free to draw their game.
Yeah, could have had,
yeah. But it just shows that they're very competitive with all these teams. But at the flip side, like you're saying, there's fine margins involved.
Very, very fine margins.
Do you know, like, one thing that I thought of in terms of how this season might go the wrong way for them, 2020 that is I was thinking of Tipperary in 2009. Remember, they got to the All-Ireland final kind of Liam Sheedy's second year,
Yeah.
got to the All-Ireland final, played unreal against Kilkenny, obviously robbed in the All-Ireland final by a penalty that never should have been. I know.
By a referee who has Offaly roots.
Yeah. And I just thought to myself, you know, at the time, everyone thought Tipperary are going to kick on to that next year in 2010. They go out and get absolutely spanked by Cork in the first round of Munster. And I think when they reflected on it, some of the talk, some of the commentary around it was, we kind of expected it to happen next year. So is there a fear for Wexford that they think we've gotten this far, we've won Leinster, we should have beaten Tip in the All-Ireland semi-final, which they should have done, 14 men, 5 points up. It'll happen for us this year. We've got everything we want, we've got the manager we want, etc.
Yeah, if they think it's going to happen, it's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
If they were to get a spanking or to get a bad result at the right time of the year, it could do them the world of good. You know, it could do them the world of good. Just say they got to a league semi-final and they took a bit of a pasting from someone, or a league final or something like that, and they took a bit of pasting.
No one wants to get to a league final anymore.
Not really, no. It's a bit of a disaster in that sense, you know. But if they were to take a reversal at the right time, it could serve as a perfect kind of G-up. But yeah, it's an awkward one. Yeah, if they're expecting things to happen, they're not going to happen.
No.
You know, they're going to still have to. You know, that kind of manic kind of hunger that got them to the Leinster final, and it was released after when it showed how much it meant. That's going to have to still be there. It's going to be interesting though, and I think tactically it's going to be very interesting. First 2 years, Davy, Sean Murphy was sweeper. First year, brilliant. No one knew what to do against him. Second year, people, and the Clare match kind of showed that in the quarter final. They had figured them out. They knew what to do. Sean Murphy's touches on the ball were very, very minimal. They put someone different back in, Kevin Foley, who maybe had been backup sweeper before that. Will he still be there? Will they look at somebody else? Will they look at pushing him forward? Will they look at, you know, expanding the sweeper system more? It'll just be interesting. I think Davey would be very wary of, you know, being predictable or anything, because they had become predictable in 2018, and they were unpredictable again last year, very much so. And the sweeper, I think the sweeper gets a bad rap. I think they're brilliant to look at, I have to say. Yeah. Brilliant to look at. And Sean Murphy attacking from wing back and this kind of crack. It's new stuff that we hadn't seen before. Be interesting to see what else he has up his sleeve.
Yeah, I also wonder how Brendan Bugler will get on. The Clare man, obviously you'd have been close to Davy from their days with the Banner County winning the All-Ireland. He was a guy, I did a piece with him a couple of years ago about how he hated the endless meetings in with county teams.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So will he enjoy must be the guts of a 5-hour round trip down to Wexford, and then a few meetings in on top of it after training.
There'll be meetings in the car, there'll be meetings outside of the car, there'll be meetings in the car on the way back.
Oh, himself, Davey will be close.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to it. What's a realistic...
League first of all, just to go through their group: Carlow, Dublin, Clare, Laois themselves, and Kilkenny. So can you get it into the top two, which gets you to a semi-final, which you may or may not want to get to? You'd imagine they're going to end up at the very least well clear of relegation spot. Only the bottom team goes into the relegation playoff.
Kilkenny aside, most teams will want to finish 3, 4 and 5.
Yeah, I think so. Like even if you look at the approach to a couple of teams in the pre-season competitions, very much got the sense that they could take or leave whether they win these games or not. But just get them out of the way.
But they're right in some sense. They don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Most teams just want to concentrate on their training, get a good block of training done. So championship, what do you think? What do they need? I
tell you what, and we're talking there, there's still a big battle up for this third spot. Like you look, Galway, who would have ever envisaged Galway not making the top 3? So and
this is a Galway team that, without Joe Canning, won it at Nolan Park.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and they have a new manager, the whole lot, the surge behind that. Canning should be back full guns, blazing. So Laois, Dublin, Wexford, Kilkenny, and who else am I missing there? Galway. So that's going to be tough to even get through.
You want to get. They just want to get in that top 3 first. Whatever after that, probably it's not a bonus, but they just want to be in that top 3 and be in the mix.
If they didn't win Leinster and only got to an All Ireland quarter final, I think it would be seen as a backward step.
Yeah, if they got to an All Ireland semi final, won a big quarter final against someone, and were thereabouts again, I don't think that would be it wouldn't be a backward step anyway.
Well, if you didn't win Leinster and didn't go any further in the championship, how is that not a backward
step?
See,
I understand what you're saying, but just say they play Limerick in All Ireland semi-final and it's a rip-roaring game and they're bet a point or two. There's no fade out and there's nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? It's different. It'll just be interesting to see how they're equipped in that knockout stage, but they have to get there first.
But then there'll be talk, let's say that happened, they lost the close semi-final. Oh, Davy's only got 1 year left now, and then the pressure put on that will be huge. Whereas you get to an All Ireland final, I think that's like for their long-term sustainability, they need another step along the road. And like fair enough if you get a knockback in Leinster, but you need to atone for it in All Ireland. I think there's a small bit of pressure on them, and there's pressure on Chin to deliver. There's pressure on Rory O'Connor to continue his, stepping up. I think there's a lot of pressure on plenty of those players.
There is a good bit of pressure on it. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's the lines are so small. They really are so small. They could easily end up not getting out of Leinster next year without playing particularly bad.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, and that's I suppose what's great about it all.
Yeah, sure. So that's it. So let us know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.